Do you want to know how to enroll 50 new students a month? So do I. So if you find the group that can teach that, please DM me and let me know. But what I can do for you is help you increase your odds of having a record 2026. Join us for Jumpstart Live in Orlando, Florida, March 27th and 28th. Take a look at the schedule, look at all the sessions that we're offering on this 2-day live event. The best part, in Orlando, Florida, when you fly into the airport, you do not have to get an Uber, you do not have to get a car. We are right there in the Hyatt Regency, right in the Orlando International Airport. Just take the escalator up and let's start learning and setting up a record 2026 for your school.
Mike Metzger, Shane Tassoul. This is Real Talk, because not everything has to be about business.
So let's just get right into business.
Oh my God. Hey, how was your sound quality on your end?
A little loud.
But was it crackling?
No, it was good.
Okay, all right.
It was good.
Oh my God, it's like a circus show.
How are we doing?
Good, good, good. Let's get into Real Talk.
Real talk right now.
So Real Talk, Mr. Shane Tassoul.
This is what you deal with in the Midwest, even after a mopped floor. The salt, look at that. Isn't that horrible? Oh, and this is real talk. Employees just leaving. Yeah, dude.
So some of the real talk here is, I think 2025 for a lot of schools, we had a lot of schools that set records, right? But it was either you set records or you were down. Like that was kind of, I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of times we've heard, I'm pretty much hovering, I'm staying the same. But I either heard schools set records or they were down. And it did seem harder, didn't it, in 2025?
Yeah, it did. And I mean, did schools set records like record lows? Because everybody can
Right.
set records. Yeah, but I mean, listen. I think like anybody. I mean, I at least try to make sure I'm not camouflaging things, right? Like, well, why was it harder? Was it what was the quote unquote excuse, if you will, right? And we had some internal things that were going on. There's no question. And I think everybody always does. I don't think that changes. But overall, yes, it's just me. I kept saying a bit more of a grind, and Mandy would say she used the word grind and opportunity because grind had a negative connotation to it. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does have a negative connotation.
No, grab my visual on grind.
Yes,
We're gonna grab our visual on grind, everybody.
grind.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, I mean, grind can have a negative connotation. It doesn't have to. It gives whatever meaning you want it. But it just seemed harder to get the same results that you normally got, right? You had to work harder to get the same results. That's what 2025 felt like for us. In some
Work harder, or work different, or both.
I think maybe it was camouflaged as working harder, but it was frustration, which felt like it was harder, so you had to work different. Is that a fair? Oh, Ryan. Prove it. There we go. Oh, look at this. The acronym. Oh, relentless, invite, now, driven. Okay.
That's hanging up in the offices.
Love it.
And somebody's making fresh chicken noodle soup, it smells like.
The bouillon.
Anyway, you know what though? It's funny. As of yesterday, until yesterday, with our team up in the office, I wasn't sure about 2026, and now I'm extremely optimistic about 26. Now, well, because I think we need a reset every now and then. I think everybody needs to be reminded. Stop working from the bottom up, work from the top down. Know exactly where you want to get and work backwards, and you can't forget that. And you can't get caught up in your routines and your habits. You got to make some changes and stay focused on what's important. And there's a reminder right there. Bye, Shane. Take care. Thanks for coming. So, anyway, for those of you working in your schools, we should feel very optimistic about 2026. However, you also have to be realistic. And one of the, as they say, come to Jesus moments, a lot of times they use the words come to Jesus moments, is I had to make sure that the team owned, that they recognized that they get caught in routines and what I call the vortex. It's like you could get motivated and inspired, and that I've noticed lasts for a short period of time before you get kind of sucked back into the habits in your daily routine. And when you get out of that routine, great things happen. When you stay focused on the end result and the target. But I don't know if everybody understands or really knows what their end result or target is. So if I say, what's your goal for 2026? Either you're going to put a dollar amount to it or a student amount to it, right? And that's not wrong. That's fine. You could do that. But unless you know exactly how you think you're going to get there and what it will take to get there, it's going to be hard. Because every single day that you go to work or work on your business, you got to make decisions and choices that are getting you one step closer to that end goal. And a lot of times we don't. We're very reactive by nature. We wait for things to come or happen, and we are not staying proactive. And we got to be proactive every single day to take steps towards that goal. If somebody comes into your school today and there's a line out your door and 15 people just happen to show up and enroll, do you pat yourself on the back? You shouldn't, because you didn't do anything. You reacted. You had people who just happened to walk in, phone was ringing, and we love it, but we didn't do that. It just happened. That's not duplicatable. We got to be purposeful, and we got to make things happen. And when you know how to make things happen, then you can duplicate it. So, that's the biggest thing about 26. And just to sum this up, and I'll throw it to you, is we have signs in the office now, literally. And we have every day, there's a meeting first thing in the morning. Don't forget about the goal. Today we got to be proactive, and we got to make sure that we are in control of the result, not anything outside of our control. So every day they have to have it could be a 10-minute meeting just as a reminder, and I'm feeling really good about it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I got booted or what happened, but all good. So, you have other signs in the office other than grind?
Yeah, make Metzger more money.
Oh,
it's everywhere.
Yeah. That's M cubed, it says.
That's right. Make Metzger money.
And the cubed is actually a dollar sign.
No, there is not more signs. Yeah, provide high quality customer service and take care of clients first.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I'll loop this back around, but you're on the verge of coming up with core values for the company. So, at the owners boot camp that we went to, right? I've been pushing that to the side for years, right? Mission statement, core values. I just feel it's too corporate-y and it's just not our culture. And it's so funny because I think sometimes when you're ready, the student is ready, right? The master will appear, and I think we're ready for it. And because not because I want to have a sterile and what I perceive to be a sterile environment with core values, but because they become guiding posts for the company. And it allows an owner who wants to have and enable more people to make decisions to be able to make decisions within those guideposts, those rails. Otherwise, it's just kind of a free for all, and then people make decisions, and they either made it and it was a great decision with no guidance, and they get pat on the back, or they made potentially a horrible decision, and we say, okay, well, let's learn for next time, and we can run our business like that for a while. But if there's no guidepost to give your team confidence on how to work and how to run, I think we're missing the mark, and so that's something that we're implementing, and they're going to weave it in and out. I mean, something as simple as, by the way, and core values can be whatever you want them to be, right? But this idea of grind and be able to point back to guys, are we doing our job? Let's just be reminded. And something as simple as that. A great example of this. Our nomination. Let's just get controversial right out of the gates. Our goals this month. One of the goals we had was for how many nominations we were going to do for the upgrade program, and the goal was they were going to do 10 nominations this month. That was the goal. I was, okay. Well, as of yesterday, I'm sorry. Oh, hang on. The goal was nominations 10. As of yesterday, they had 6 nominations done as of yesterday, right? And we're still in the first week of the month. And by the way, I will tell you, they had a upgrade conference yesterday. We had 2 upgrades last night. We had a new student last night. We had a new trial last night. And so going back to the nomination thing, there's months we had 0 nominations, by the way. So I asked the chief instructor, I said, how come we have 6 in the first week? Well, part of it is I was just looking at a whiteboard that we have. Every day we go over, we have all of our goals written for the month. And every day as a team, we spend 5 minutes, we review the goals. What's the goal? Where are we at? What do we need to do? And his response to me was, because everyone's on the same page and we're setting goals, we go over the goals every day. It was something as easy as that, which is, now, do I know that that's the real reason? I have no idea, but I don't care, because here we are the first week and we've got 6 nominations for our upgrade program already, which in the past, like I said, we've had, times there's been months we've had 0. Why? Because everything else, we focus on everything else, and then we never come back to this. And this is what can happen so easily in a business, where we're constantly juggling things. And if you're not focused on juggling the 3 R's between recruit, retain, and revenue, and you get sidetracked, what seems to be a good idea can take away from some of these other areas, and it's hard to make up for some of those areas if you've neglected it for a while. So that's it for us.
As you're talking about this and stuff, I'm just thinking, there's people that are watching this that don't have any staff, right? There's people that are watching that don't need to upgrade anyone because they don't do upgrades, and that's fine. But let me ask you, anybody watching, if you would be willing to chime in, and Tass, let me ask you, what do you think is the biggest justification or excuse on why somebody's school is not where they want it to be, but hidden justification or excuse? Meaning, the one that people make another excuse to hide the real reason, is what I'm asking. What do you think that hidden reason is that people aren't growing the school?
It's themselves, man. And some people.
And hold on real quick, while you're answering that, please chime in, everybody. What do you think the real reason is that you or people in the industry, they don't have their school where they want it to be? I'd like to just see if anyone is brave enough to type it in.
Here's the thing.
Mr. Corbowie, good. Following systems, go ahead.
I could say this, right? Man, it's just tough to get the schools this year for us. In our online marketing, we just don't seem to be getting the leads that we were getting. We threw more money at it. That doesn't seem to do it. It's just tough right now. That's great. Well, some people will say that and give well, that's the hardest thing. It's unpredictable results from what we're going to get. No, that ultimately comes back to me. It's a me problem, and I'm the bottleneck. And so, as much as Marshall, you say one person, there might be people watching that don't do upgrades, they don't have a team, and totally get that. But then you are the org chart. It's you. You're the org chart. You're everything, and you can only get so far in life, in business, anywhere, by doing something alone. But we have volunteers, and we have great. They're the most expensive staff that you'll ever have, by the way. But what is it that you're doing, and are you taking personable accountability for it? Right? I think that's the biggest reason why. Look, I know it to be true, even with a staff and even with a team. Sometimes what happens, I come in, I get passionate. We meet at 1 o'clock, and I try to keep my meetings to 60 minutes because I'll never forget my grandfather telling me. And he would come to my meetings in the past when he would pass to go to Kohl's department store. I swore he just bought stuff to return it, so he could come by and say hi. And he would sit and listen to the meetings. And he told me two things. He said, son, you got to slow down. You just talk too fast. And he said, those meetings are really long. The mind can only tolerate what the ass can, or the mind can only handle what the ass will tolerate, he said. And I'll never forget him saying that. But I tend to have these long meetings because I'm trying to get all the information and try and shove 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag right now, and trying to get all it done now, right? And what I've realized is they can't execute when I'm getting in the way. So there's another, sometimes mentally we get in our own way. I'm talking about physically, I'm getting in the way of our team doing business. It's 1 o'clock and also 3:15. There's a private lesson coming in 15 minutes. Well, guess what? They were supposed to be doing lead calls. But they can't do it because if I'm in here 3 days a week from 1 to 3:30 and I just keep talking and no one's executing, we're not getting the job done. So I am getting in my way.
So, and Mr. Martinez says lack of discipline. Let me ask you this. Put a yes or a no and be honest. Everybody watching, please, we only had 2 people comment on this, but how about lack of execution? We're afraid. Just type in yes or no. Do you know any martial artists that are socially awkward?
I don't. Did you say, do I not know any martial artists that are socially? Yeah.
But I want to know from everybody else. Do you know any great martial artists? Let's put the word great martial artists that are socially awkward. Yes or no? Let's get real. This is real talk.
It's odd. Yeah, the majority are. I mean, that's
when are you guys going to realize that we're in an industry full of weird people? We're in an industry full of people that couldn't play sports, as David Rodriguez would say. So they joined karate and martial arts.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, of course. So look, what holds people back? Recognizing your weaknesses, ego, lack of discipline, lack of systems. So look, you look at some brilliant people that are great at what they do. And listen, let's just say Mark Zuckerberg for a minute, whether you're a fan or not, right? But no one can argue that he's extremely successful. Nobody can argue that he's extremely smart. But I've heard there's people that I know that know him because he's really big into BJJ and he's a little socially awkward, right? But he may be smart enough to recognize that about himself and hire people that have strengths where he's weak. And what's that?
That would be Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, socially awkward.
He recognized that, and he's hired great people around him. And by the way, did you just see there was something where someone said basically?
Oh, we just lost him. So we got to hear about Elon Musk. But here's the deal, everybody. If your school is stuck, you got to stop and be honest with yourself. Is it because you're lazy when it comes to business? I mean, you got to ask yourself. I'm not saying you are, but we got to identify that. Are we lazy? Meaning, sorry, Tess, we lost you. You were going to say something about Elon Musk, but hold on a second. Are we lazy? Meaning, I just don't want to go network with the community. I don't want to be told no for the 80th time from the school systems about being partners in ed, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get up early in the morning and get to work and start thinking, what am I going to do today to get my next new student? What am I going to do today to plan to generate more revenue this month? Do I just kind of go in? So are we lazy? Basically, are we lazy? Number 2, do you really know what you're doing in business? By the way, you don't. Unless you've studied it and you've modeled successful people in the same industry, you don't know what you're doing. You're using logic to make decisions for your business. So unless you're reading books, attending seminars, going to events, how do you know how to run a business? Like, when did you learn that, right? That's the second thing. Do you know what you're doing on the business side? Number 3, this is the big one, presentation. Do you present well? You might be a world champion martial artist, but socially you don't present well. And you got to recognize that. And then what we'll do is we'll justify it and we'll say, well, my students love me. You know, my students think I'm the best and they all love me. Well, I'm not talking about the people that are also socially awkward that are with you. Tell me about everybody that quit your school because you didn't present well. Whether it's your look, by the way, that's the reality, right? The look, the appearance. Are you too tough? Are you too soft? Are you too quiet? Are you too loud? Are you too shy? Are you too introvert? I mean, we got to look at everything, because here's the thing you have to ask yourself. Why is it that a school down the road or a school in my city or a school in my state can be doing 10 times better than me? 10 times more students, 10 times more revenue, and by the way, let's just say hypothetically, 10 times more championships, because I know what you're going to say. We justify it. Well, they're a McDojo. They just sell people. Listen, if there's people in a community going somewhere and paying money for it, they're obviously seeing value. Whether or not they're selling high-level martial arts, they're giving the public what the public wants, and obviously if they're doing well, the public enjoys it and the community likes it, right? They're providing a service and the community's buying it. Why aren't they buying you yours, right? It does start with yourself, as Tassoul was saying. You were saying Elon Musk, there was just an interview with him?
It was just fun. I was just proving the awkward point, right? Like he got put in a really awkward situation. Someone in the audience was like, basically saying, "Hey, I'm the next Saban, and I'm just like you, and I'd like to apply for your CEO position, whatever position it was." And Elon's like, "Yeah," he's as awkward as he is. That put him in even a more awkward state to have to answer, like, "Yeah, we're not really looking for anybody for that position." But then he goes, "Then I'll apply for this other position." Elon's like, "I think we're just going to take the next question," he says. It was the most awkward interview or question. It was so funny. But yeah, listen, I mean, dude, we say this all the time, but we also talked about making this, whatever, the record breaking, I think, February. So we'll chat about that in a minute. But to your point, it's very difficult to get to a record breaking February or any month if you don't know where you've been and why. Right, so you're really laying the foundation of, well, how are we going to do this if all of these other we can have that in some cases dream, because it will never happen, right? And then when you do this long enough and you set a lot of people have done this. You set a financial goal and then you don't hit it, or you set a student goal and you don't hit it, and then you do it again and you don't hit it, and again and again. Well, pretty soon what you're doing is you're just setting yourself up for failure, and like, I don't know, I'm going to set the goal, I'm not going to hit it anyways, and then that becomes your mindset. So you really have to understand, number one, how to set goals, how to set meaningful goals. There's a great book, it's called Gap and the Gain, and you can always look at the gap or you can look at the gain, but you have to find the win. Set yourself up for a win. If you're doing this on your own, set yourself up to win, right? And I don't care what that is. Make 10 phone calls. If you're not making any right now, make 5 phone calls. Not, I'm going to book 5 appointments. I'm just going to make 5 calls. That's a win for you. And you do it consistently. It's something you've never done before. But same thing with your teams. This is me at the health club 100 years ago. You would hit a number for the membership goal, and then the next month that number got raised. It got to a point I'm like, man, I just feel like we're trying to be taken advantage of here. The number just keeps going higher and higher and higher. And it wasn't like, let's just do that again. But it got to a point where it was always being like pulled out of reach, right? It was always getting pulled out of reach. And it just got to be so hard. And that's what some of us do, is because we have these dreams of having X number of students or making X number of dollars. And at the end of the day, we just got to take small steps to be able to get there. You have to make sure your team believes they can do it as well.
And let's talk about February, because I don't know if everyone watching this set a goal for February, but you're just going to continue to flounder, or some of you may do okay. Here, let me tell you this. When I was teaching, when I opened my school, I was 17 years old. And when I was 18, 19, I was going to college, right? And I had no business systems, didn't know shit about business, didn't know anything about business. However, we were world-class martial artists. Our students would go to the U.S. Open, would compete in NASCA, and we were on stage. I mean, we had high-level students in all the local tournaments. We would kill it. So that helped me a little bit, right? Because I was the school when you walked in. How many of you were this school, or maybe still are? When you walked into my school, you saw all these trophies and plaques and medals. Remember those days? You just don't see that anymore. Like back in the early 90s, 80s, 90s. I mean, we had trophies in the window, plaques, state champion, world champions, all of that stuff.
Or Derby trophies from Cub Scouts, weren't they?
They were, yes.
Yeah. You even know what that is?
No.
You don't? Oh my! Maybe it's just a Wisconsin thing. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts used to have a Pine Car Derby, and you have to build a car, and then they have a race to see who won.
Oh yes, Kylie did that in Girl Scouts or something, but I got kicked out of the Boy Scouts. That's for real.
I busted your mojo. Sorry. So yes,
I was asked to, but here's the deal. And the other thing that kept me doing okay was I never took it so serious. We had fun. Students, we had fun, but we got the job done. We had fun, right? So why did we have fun? Well, everyone, including everyone here watching you, wants to have fun. Fun is different for all of you people, but nobody doesn't want to have fun. So we had fun, and I think that's also what helped my students train and whatever. However, I floundered. I got to this point, and I was just like, I couldn't grow anymore. I was just like, that was it. And I've told this story, but my goal back then was all I wanted to be able to do was make $50,000 a year teaching martial arts. That was my goal. You know that. That was my goal. So first, at that time, as a kid running a school, I wasn't dreaming big enough, I don't think. I mean, first of all, my goal, maybe I hit a ceiling because my goal just wasn't that high, right? It was like I just couldn't even imagine doing more than that. But then I went to my first seminar. And what bothered me and inspired me was when I saw all these other martial artists from around the country at this seminar crushing me in how well they were doing with their business. And there were training sessions, and I was like, they're good martial artists too. So I couldn't use an excuse like they're not high level good martial artists. They were good martial artists, and they were doing well. And then I thought, I'll be honest with you, I started feeling like a loser, basically. I mean, I was like, I'm competitive. I was like, if they're doing it, why can't we? I don't understand. We have the best team in the world. We got, we're crushing all the turn. I don't understand why we're not the best school. And it came to a hard realization that the majority of the community didn't give a shit about how many trophies we were winning at tournaments. That's not what they wanted for themselves or their child. It was a small percentage of people. And then we would justify, I got people that drive an hour to come to class one or two that would drive an hour, right? But your bread and butter is your community. So you got to recognize what people want. Number two, you got to do everything possible to get the odds in your favor to succeed. So when we talk about February is Valentine's Day. Every one of our students in our school knows, for the kids, we're going to be supplying Valentine cards. Parents, don't go out and buy them. If the kids go to school and hand Valentine cards out to their classmates in elementary school, we're going to supply. Does that work? Sometimes. But it's so cheap. Is it going to help me or hurt me? It's not going to hurt me. It can only help me. If I can get 10,000 Valentine cards out to kids in my community for a free week of martial arts lessons or whatever it is, but it's a Valentine card or whatever. Can it help or hurt? It can help, then we're doing it. Especially when there's not a big risk. There's zero risk. It's very low cost. So that's an example of like Valentine's Day, right? The next thing is we are getting booths set up, offsite booths. We are scheduling PE teacher for a day. We are tackling 2-week courses. And something we have not gone after for a very, I'm talking 20 years. We have not put our energy and focus until this month. We're starting to tackle the middle school market again. We're going after the middle school market. We had focused on adults and elementary age. And those elementary age kids obviously would grow and become teenagers and middle schoolers and high schoolers, but we never went after that market. As a matter of fact, right now as we speak, Mr. Obeida Benwali is at a high school talking to troubled kids at a high school. So we're expanding our focuses here a little bit. However, we have to change the way we present. You cannot present to middle school or high school kids the same way you present to elementary schools. You cannot present to adults the same way you would present to high school, middle school, or elementary school. So every day you walk in, if you don't know what you're trying to do or where you're trying to go, you're going to flounder. If you don't accept and be honest with yourself on where you're weak, you're going to flounder. And if you don't compensate for your weaknesses by either A, fixing it to be a strength, or hiring somebody that's strong where you're weak, you're going to eventually flounder. And I had no problem admitting where I was weak. Back in the day, I knew I was a great instructor. How do we measure that? We measure that by retention rate, and then I measured it by how well we did in competitions. That's how I measured it. My students were great, so I thought, okay, I think I'm a great instructor. My retention's good, and we're killing tournaments. But my recruiting was horrible, and my organization was horrible. I had to hire somebody that was really good with organization and really good with people coming in and doing enrollments. And that's what I did. And I would always try to find people to compensate for my weaknesses. You just did it last year.
Good one. You talking to me?
Yes, hired where you're weak. So you got out of the martial arts business completely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I thought I was compensating for your weakness.
You did, by staying quiet.
Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah,
Well, when I say your weakness, you had a weakness in your school.
Right.
There was a weak link in your school. You bring your son in, same team, bring the son in, and what did you, in what? Realistically, in 3 months, you 4x'd enrollments in 3 months on what you did in 9.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, it makes a difference, right?
Yep. Yeah, it makes a massive difference. And, for some people, you can get to a very successful school, right, with as an individual owner operator, by just really genuinely caring about your people, your families, because that relationship goes a long way, right? And you're going to naturally have great retention, and you're going to have, people that want to, they're going to renew or go to the next level program and have them, and they're going to participate at a high level because you have a great culture and they love being there, right? But you're going to get to a point where your growth is going to be stifled because you can only do so much as one person. And then things are going to start falling off. And you're not maybe going to recognize what those things are. Why do I say that? Because also what most of us won't do, right, is really, until we get to a certain point, we don't track the numbers, right? And I don't know how to say any different than that. Like, everyone hates stats, right? Whether you want to say track the numbers or look at your KPIs or whatever you want to call it, it's all the same stuff. But if you don't look at those things, it's very difficult because you're making emotional decisions and not data-driven decisions. And sometimes you make the right decision and sometimes you don't. I would rather have the data and know what it is, and be able to expect what we expect. I mean, this is where things can get. This is what and you've heard me say this 100 times. I hate tracking data. I hate inputting the data, but I love analyzing the data. And so I need to find someone that puts the data in, so I can analyze the data and find out how are we doing. Because there's just so much that you can learn from the data. And look, when you want to have get a team, if you don't have a team, you have to get aligned with yourself, and you have to know what you're doing and create a system and get excited and get motivated. Sometimes that can be hard to do. When I was at the school every day and I was teaching classes, I'd cinch my knot of my belt 3 times, right? Do the whole mind, body, spirit thing as like whatever I felt, like my mindset had to change, and then I was ready to go. But for the team, we got to get the team motivated. We got to rally the team. Like, what's the vision? What's the mission? What are we trying to accomplish? How much better are we going to make these students that come in the doors today? What is our goal for them? And get them motivated, get them excited, and knowing that you may be teaching someone's last class today. And what is that going to look like and are you okay with that, by the way? That's the motive. Like, this is how we get to the next levels, but always asking ourselves the question, how can we be better? How can we be better? How can we be better? And you'll continue to find ways that you can be better in your business. That's how you continue to grow.
Let me leave everybody with this. And as you were talking, it just hit me. You've never heard me say this, but I just realized that as you were talking, and as you talk, I daydream. I just start drifting off when you talk. But it helps. That's why we work so well together. I come up with great ideas and stuff. No, you want to know something, Tass? Seriously, and everybody listen up. I tell everybody in the industry, register for our event. The next one is March 27th here in Orlando, right? March 27th. And of course, it's sales, right? It's like, hey, register for our event. It's not sales. It's sales because I know how good it is for you. But I just realized, how many times have you heard me say how going to that first martial arts conference changed the direction, right? You've heard me say that a million times, right? Back in the 90s, my mom said, got to get your shit together, go to this conference. I said, what are they going to teach me? Yeah. She said, I don't know, this, that, and the other. And you've heard me say, when I went to that conference, and I just said it earlier here, I said, I saw people that were doing 10 times more than me. They were great martial artists. I talked to these people, right? You've heard me say that a million times. Here's the epiphany. How many times have you heard me say what session I liked the best from that conference? I don't remember a session from the conference. I remember that conference changed my life and the trajectory of my business. I remember the people that I met at that conference. I remember hearing their numbers. I remember training and seeing them train and thinking how great they were. Can't remember the sessions. So for those of you, when I tell you get to these conferences, because it's the networking, it's not about hearing me speak or Tassoul speak or one of the other consultants speak on stage. It's just as much or more about the people that you are surrounding yourself with that's going to help change the trajectory of your school and where you're going. The conversations on the side is what's going to propel you. We will give you the tools and the systems to help you propel. But basically, here's what it is, everybody. Listen, register. Why? We're just the hosts of bringing together 400 to 500 martial artists from all over the country and world. I mean, we're hosting an event where we're bringing people together for your benefit, And what an eye-opening thought I just literally had, that I couldn't tell you a seminar title. I couldn't tell you a topic. I couldn't tell you what I learned from somebody speaking on stage. All I can do is tell you about the people that I met, how it changed my life completely with my business, and how we just started going to the next level. So that's why I say register. The link is there. Come join us at the Hyatt Regency right in the Orlando International Airport, guys. Call and ask questions. But it's not about us. It's about the hundreds of other people that you're going to be talking to and meeting. Any final thoughts, Tass?
Oh man, nothing I haven't said before. If you don't like where you are, are you just going to do the same thing for all of 2026, 27, 28, 29, and 30? Or are you going to make some changes? Are you going to make some meaningful changes, right? And as you were saying that earlier about going to this event and don't remember a seminar, um, the pre-frame that you gave was like, what are they going to teach me? Da, da, da. So for good for you for going there, because you could have viewed it through a lens of, yeah, there's nothing they can teach me. Yeah, I proved it to myself and walked away, because you could have probably found those types of things as well, but you were open to seeing everything, and then you had this realization, like, well, maybe this is different than what I thought it was going to be. And so, for some of us, I would say that, right? I think sometimes we go with a chip on our shoulder, maybe, and we're just like we're looking for the reasons why I shouldn't have gone. And two things are going to happen. Number one, it's not going to be fun, and you will leave, and you will not take anything away from it, right? We all love Bruce Lee, so just listen to Bruce Lee and come with an empty cup, and you might be surprised on number one what you leave with, whether that's information, new friendships, new network, or ideas that might help take your school to the next level. You're going to leave with something, and it's going to make you better, a version of yourself than you were when you walked in. So it's up to you guys. You guys got to take that. At the end of the day, it's like you guys in your martial arts schools. Everybody, me too, right? Why do I not have 3,000 students in my school? Because I understand how great it is for everybody. And not everyone's willing to make the step. Not everyone's willing to make the step and make the journey. And so for those that are, it's an exciting journey, and for those that aren't, sometimes it can be painful. So it's up. You're ultimately in the driver's seat, right? At the end of the day, you're in the driver's seat to do what you want. And if you're not happy with the decisions that got you to where you are, then you need to make some different decisions to get you where you want to go, because nothing changes if nothing changes.
Exactly. That's right. And it seems like I say it every year. I remember just like yesterday saying, guys, it's 2025. Are you ready now to do something big this year? Now it's 2026, but I said that in 24, 23, 22. So anyway, all right, guys, we appreciate you, and we'll see everybody soon.
Right on. Go rock out your February 2026, everybody. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.